Okay, on gold, I have a 10% indication for the next 200 days. That's what says my similarities analysis. So this method take the last period as a reference and look in the past to find some similar patterns to to have some indication on the future. These similar patterns are displayed here in this window. In this window, we have the statistical analysis about the different curves, the different result curves. Here in green, we have the average, and in blue, the probability cone. Okay, what I'm doing here is a long-term analysis with daily data. It focuses on the next 6 months, 1 and a half period. I have data that goes back to 1975. It's an okay amount of data, 12,000 lines. All right. I've asked for the 6 best fitted curve, and I do an analysis with a window of the last 400 days. Here in red, we have our reference, which is the last 400 days on gold. Okay, let's do curve by curve. So first, the reference here in red, the last period, is well, quite inexpressive. It's not very specific, so it's a bit bad for confidence index. We will have less reliable results, but it's still okay. All right, the first one is nicely fitted. There's a little miss here, but otherwise it's really nicely fitted. We can find something special that is this double tooth here. We find them here. So we have a fit that could be not here. The 0 point could be instead here. But okay, we have an up movement here of nearly 40%, and then down it corrects to 10% up. All right, let's switch to the next one, which is okay fitted. There's clearly a miss here on the last period, which is too bad, but it's still indicative with range bound, a bit of correction, but globally range bound, and then up 10% for the next 200 days. Okay, let's switch to the third one, which is okay fitted. The nice thing here is this correction here looks like really, this is not a correction, but maybe more of a half mast. First part of the half mast, and the second one. Okay, so it's okay fitted from on all this period and very nicely fitted here. So maybe we have this same similarity here, and we are going to have a 20% up, but then you can see that there's a correction down to 0, or maybe up here to the 10% at 200 days. All right, let's switch to the next curve. This one is not really well fitted here, not really well fitted here. I think I am going to delete that one. It's really not fitted. Okay, next one. This is an okay fit, not very similar, but acceptable. We can see that there's a correction of 10% and then up that goes to the 10% at 200 days. Let's switch to the last one. It is an okay fit, a miss at the beginning here. We have a little correction and then up to the 20% at 200 days. Okay, so globally, what is the conclusion? For each curve, we have more or less at 200 days a target of 10%. That's what we can see here in the statistical analysis. That's faster than looking at each curve. The average goes at 10% at 200 days, but we can see that there's variability with down movement 10%, but then up, or up movement 40%, that is going to be corrected up to the 10% here. So this is why I have an indication of 10% for the next 200 days. Now, if you want to buy gold, maybe you can wait for a 10% correction and then buy it. Or if you want to sell gold, maybe you have to wait for 20, 25 up movement to sell it. All right. But for the next 200 days, 10%, that's all for me.